Hi. So this is the introductory video to what will hopefully be a long-running weight loss vlog, and in addition to being about weight loss primarily, it'll also be a way for me to document some of the other changes that I want to make in my life. I'm not going to spend my time counting calories or points or glycemic index. I'm not going to plan my meals or prepare my meals or schedule my meals. I think most people who are of a healthy normal weight, they don't complicate their food, and I don't think I have to either in order to be a good healthy weight. All I'm trying to do is eat like a person of good healthy weight and let the pounds take care of themselves. I'm trying to do resolutions and not revolutions this time. I was under 40 BMI for the first time in I don't know how many years, because for the longest time I didn't weigh myself. Obviously that, like I said last video, that doesn't really mean anything in reality. It's just a number. But it's pretty cool. I've never been so happy to be severely obese. And so there's my first kind of big milestone of this weight loss journey. So I made it. I did it. I'm under 300 pounds for the first time since, I don't know, late 2006, early 2007. I'm not really sure when I crossed over the 300 mark. And I've still got a long way to go, but I'm happy to be back in the 200s. The 300s, there's plenty. It's not unusual to be in the 200s. Once you're in the 300s, you're kind of in freaky territory, and I'm never going to go back there. You can bet against me if you like. Sure, but you're not going to win. I mean, I don't keep track. I eat when I'm hungry and I stop when I'm satisfied, and that's really all the calorie counting I need to do. And so if I'm under the trend line, I really honestly don't worry about what I eat. I eat what I want. And if I have to watch it, well then I concentrate pretty much on the carbs only. I don't worry about fat, and I definitely don't worry about protein. And I eat bad foods, but I also get my fruits and vegetables in, so I don't worry about my vitamins and all that stuff. Like fat is not it's not just this thing that sits there collecting the energy you don't use, like the calories in, calories out people preach, but it is, made up of fat cells that act like any other cell in the body. They act under the direction of the central nervous system and the endocrine system, which is your hormones. And the low-carb people focus on insulin, which is overly simplistic. But basically they're right in that you can't store fat without insulin. The problem is you can't store or you can't build lean tissue without insulin either. Basically with the insulin, one of the things the insulin does is it breaks up the lipoproteins that are in your blood into fatty acids and amino acids. The fatty acids can cross the cell membrane of the fat cells and be stored as triglycerides. So you can't store fat without insulin. But the amino acids cross the cell membrane of the muscles and other lean tissues. So without insulin, really you're wasting your time doing strength training. So I thought, well, I should bring in more carbohydrates to the post-workout meal. And, those things that I'm not cutting out, things like pizza, I should be shifting those kind of foods so that the carbohydrates is working for me and not against me. My fat percentage in the last 6 weeks has fallen at such a rate that I know that I've maintained all my lean body mass while I've lost weight. So all the weight I've lost recently has been 100% fat. So I brought in a number of changes like protein supplementation, omega-3 fatty acids, shifting carbs into the pre and post workout period, and I've discussed all those before. But really the inflection point was when I started doing HST, hypertrophy specific training. I've always sort of been able to, most of the time, the vast majority of the time, been able to sort of control the dial and move it up or down to stay really close to the target weight. I've gotten pretty good at that, I think, for two reasons, I think. The first is that if I get under the target weight by too much, like if I get under the target rate by a pound or more, I'll purposely increase my food intake. And I think that has served to keep my metabolism almost as high as it was when from before I started this. And the second reason, and this is just my own little theory, it's based on absolutely no evidence or anything that I've read about or anything, but I never took those bullshit pounds off the table. Like, the bullshit pounds are those 5 or 10 pounds that you lose in the first week or two. In my first month, in January, I lost a total of 9 pounds, which is pathetic for someone in his mid-300s. Those bullshit pounds are always available to me when if I need it, I'll take a pound or two. If I don't need it, or I need to ease up or even gain a little bit, then I give back some of that. I have done changes pretty much across the board. Most of them are minor little tweaks and stuff, but the major change that I've done is on the diet side, and that is putting a floor, putting a minimum on the amount of protein that I take in a day. So I do have to start counting grams in a rough way. Now, as far as the amount of food goes, I've been able to keep up with my targets as far as total weight goes, absolute weight goes. So, I'm still going to continue on with that intuitive approach, eating when I'm hungry and stopping when I'm satisfied. It's served me well for the last 10 months. I see no reason why I should change that. But within that amount, I'm just changing the macronutrient levels. And I've always believed that, just from a psychological perspective, if you have to add something and subtract something else, then you should focus on the thing that you're adding, because it just displaces the other thing. You look at those calorie charts, and they'll have you look up under your age and your sex and your height, and you'll see, say a sedentary person, is 2,000 calories to maintain, or a moderately active person is 2,400, or even somebody with like a manual hard labor job is still only 2,800. So basically, when you look at that, the main component of metabolism is not your activity. The main component of metabolism is your basal metabolic rate, and the main component of that is just the generation of body heat. Now, you basically have two sources of energy. For your activity, your body uses blood sugar, but for your body heat, your body burns fat, literally burns it for body heat. And like any fire, if you add fuel to the fire, it gets hotter. And so it's just been my experience that by keeping my levels of dietary fat high, I've been able to keep my metabolism high. For the lifelong fatties, you're talking about, to get to a normal weight and maintain it for a lifetime, you're talking about a complete transformation that affects every single system in your body. You're talking about something that affects not only your fat tissue, but it affects your skeleton, it affects your muscles, it affects your brain and your brain chemistry, it affects your immune system, literally everything. And the only analogy that I could think of that we all have experienced is puberty. That was the only time where our body completely changed. All of the systems in our body completely changed, and even that process took 3 or 4 years. So you may as well embrace that time. You may as well embrace patience. Well, it's been a great year. In some ways it feels like just yesterday that I posted that first video, and in other ways I guess it feels like forever ago, and in a lot of ways it doesn't seem like the same person. It feels like a stranger when I look at that first video. Thanks everybody for taking time out of your life to watch some of my videos, and for giving me a chance to be accountable to you, and letting me share some of the research that I do and the experiences that I have, the successes and the failures. Fortunately for me, I've had more successes than failures. And thank you most of all for your continuing support. And So anyway, now onto this week's update. Last week I had a fairly significant gain and I was sitting at 250 even. In the early part of the week I was still gaining because my body was still getting used to the new way of eating, which, even though it's the old way of eating, was new to it. And you know, it can take the body about 2 weeks, up to 2 weeks, to adjust to any sort of new calorie level or whatever. Anyway, by midweek it had reversed course. It started going down. I'm recording this Saturday night and will be uploading it after I weigh in on Sunday morning. So I'm not really sure what weight I'll be at tomorrow. But I was under 250. I was under 250 this morning, and I'm almost positive that I'll have a loss for the week. I'll post that at the end of this. And so anyway, have a great night, have a great week, and I will see you all next time. Okay, bye-bye.
Get loose.
So yeah, if you're a friend, hi, and if you're not a friend yet, well, subscribe and all that stuff, and feel free to leave comments, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.